All right, so doesn't work very well. So I'm gonna get my gray ready. Get a little bit of gray on up here. Get some blue.
Which blue?
Any blue will work. Yeah, any blue will work. Get some red, pyro red. Okay. So we're just gonna do a wash here. Okay. So I don't want my grays and my blues to run into my reds, right? So before you start putting paint on your paper, with your rag, you're just gonna dry your piece of paper. That will dry it enough so you don't get any runs. All right. So I'm getting some gray and blue.
So you mix them together.
Yep, some gray and blue. They're not totally mixed together, but they're happy together. I'm just gonna pull that down a bit with some water. I'm going to soften some of that up. Right, it's quite soft when we look at our reference photo. It is quite soft, so we'll soften that up like that. Go back into my tray. We'll grab some of that. And as you can see, my gray and blue is somewhat better controlled. It's not exploding everywhere, right? That's because I dried my paper a little bit with my towel. Just going to paint around the poppies. Some reds here. Grab a little bit of red. Grab a little bit of red. Actually, I do need a little bit of yellow as well, so I'm going to mix that yellow in. Orangey color there. Pull some of that down. Just a gray and blue again, back to my gray and blues. I am covering up some of the blacks because they're quite going to be really easy to fill in and bring out later. It's just the reds and the whites that I'm most concerned about. Now I'm gonna grab this. Nope, this is just gonna be our wash for now. I do have a little bit of orange up here on this guy, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill this guy in. It's part of the wash because it's not in focus, so just add that. And a touch of red there. Oh, that's a nice blossom. That's what I want. And again, of course, I'm avoiding the red, right? Oh, there's some white here. It should be quite white, so I'll just pull that off with my brush. Everything's kind of a blur right now, right? Because it's just a wash and not really focused on anything right now. I'm gonna get some red and blue to make a purple. I'm just gonna add some purple here and there, here and there. pretty nice wash, I think. We do have this this orange up here that I want to fill in, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And same with this one. These colors are in the background, so we're gonna just add them now. Because I want them blurry, we do have to add them while it's wet. There's a black shape there. I'm just gonna cover up. That, and there's a bit of a shadow here, so I'm gonna add a little bit of blue and gray to that corner, add a little bit to that corner. Piece of cake, right? All right, so the last thing I want to do, actually, is there anything I want to do? Yeah, there is. I'm just gonna soften some of these edges, because when we paint that red, we don't want a big hard line up there. So we're just gonna soften that. Just soften some of these lines, because we're gonna end up with a soft painting rather than a hard edge painting. Something like that. This one, just getting rid of that paint, just cleaning it up there, and that softens it out by itself. And then down here, just softening those edges. All right, so that's gonna be, yeah, so if you do get a bit of a leak, you can just clean up those leaks with your clean dry brush, right? Just like that. And I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna increase my actually, I don't need to increase my contrast, because we are gonna do some negative painting later on. So that's gonna be our first wash. Everyone okay with that? Perfect. I'm gonna stick with the red and the yellow to make our kind of a peachy red color, but more red because these are poppies, right? Little poppies here. So my paper is still a little bit damp, which is fine. I'm gonna start by laying down my first layer of red. And you can see when I'm touching the other paint is not blooming out, so that's where we want to be. For you're gonna have to test how wet your paper is.
That's what he's doing right now. Yeah.
It's the same. So this first layer for this poppy is going to be a fairly light peachy color. So I am.
It looks reddish.
Yeah, it's kind of peachy red, pink. But you see, I am covering everything, right?
Yeah.
It's not. I don't have to be too careful, because we're gonna let this dry and then go ahead and do all the shadows and highlights on our next go around. So a little bit easier doing it that way. But you know, if you are doing this at home for homework, you can totally, you know, fill in the shadows and the highlights as you go. There's nothing wrong with that. Just whatever style of painting you like to do, you can do it on your own time. The reason why I'm painting it this way is because it's the easiest way for doing iridescence. If I were doing this at home, I typically do the shadows and the highlights as I'm going, because it creates a bit of a different feel to the painting. Yeah, you can use cadmium red or pyro red.
So you're just using one color?
No, there's two colors.
Okay.
There's yellow and pyro red to make this. Pyro red and yellow to make this peach color. Let me finish this area. I think that's fine. It's quite red on the monitor, but it's peachy where I am. Maybe I see colors different than you guys. Yeah, typically poppies are red, you know, especially the poppies we get every year from the, who's that group that sells those poppies? The Legion, yeah, that's right. Alright, so I am gonna go ahead and add some highlights, a little bit of yellow. And the highlights are up here, so a little bit of yellow. A little bit of yellow up here. Yes, that's right. Just to warm up that area. And this one should be a little bit yellow. Like something like that. Soften this one because it is set back. This one a little bit. Which other one? This one is quite blurry as well, so we'll soften this one too. I'm just going to fill that in because we'll have some dark colors to fill that in later, so that's not a big deal. Otherwise, everything is, yeah, it's done. Okay, so that's our next layer. Pretty easy. I'm gonna... With my dark colors now, my grays and blues. I'm gonna use two brushes. So one clean brush to kind of feather and one dark brush to lay down paint. Okay, so let's just show you what I'm saying or thinking. So if I'm laying down some color like that, with the dry or with your clean brush, you're just gonna feather that out just to soften. That's what I'm thinking about, or that's what I'm trying to do. That brush is way too small. I'm gonna use a bigger brush.
That's for all those dark circles. Is that
So, watch the camera.
okay?
So, I'm just gonna touch the side of my flower there. And you see it's bleeding a little bit?
Yeah.
Totally fine. Okay. care. I don't really mind that too much. But if you don't want that to bleed in, you can just have a little white line there just to separate the colors, okay? Up to you, up to you. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring those shapes back into focus. A little bit back into focus. All right, but you know, they are supposed to be kind of blurry, so I am going to go ahead and push that back again into a blur. Remember to...
Did you re-wet your board?
Nope.
Your
I haven't
canvas?
re-wet anything.
So it's just the amount of water on your brush?
It's the amount of water on the back of the paper.
Oh, interesting.
'Cause
Okay.
the back of our paper is still pretty wet.
Pretty dry.
Yours is pretty dry? Well, so we have something like that in the background, right? So we're doing we're starting to do some negative painting. Oh, sorry. Go like that.
So this isn't the stems, this is
Just the dark areas.
dark.
Yep. So that's a dark area there. So I am following what I have drawn on my paper, right? So my paper marks, or sorry, my pencil marks is what I'm following for the most part. I am making up some shapes as well.
If the paper dries too much, can you lift it and put some on the back side, or is that not a good idea?
If your paper's dried too much, I would lay down your paint like this, and I would use your brush to soften. You see how I wet that whole area already? Again, sorry. So that's how I would do it. And then we have this really dark flower here, or the bud. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in, kind of like that. That one as well. Yeah, so there's all these buds here, and they don't have to be in focus because they're in the background. You can just drop color in.
Are you using a green for that?
Nope, this is just gray and blue. My gray and blue. That's what we used originally, right? So we're just intensifying the saturation in there. So some of the stems I'm gonna leave white because that helps me break up shapes and break up this big block of dark. And this stem is black, or sorry, I totally messed up that stem, but that's fine. It's okay to mess up, as long as you can fix it. This one's black as well. Just the petals that meet the flower, right, is black. So you can just drop in some black there and then just pull that down. And going in, and then you can just transition that into a negative shape. Create some stems or interesting shapes like that. Or or you can do a dry brush, something like that, and that will make shapes for you, and then you can just paint around there, right? So this is kind of like happy accidents there, right? Because you're just dry brushing that whole area and then picking out what you like. Just try it, you'll like it. And then there's this black bud there. I'm just gonna drop it. This is still wet, by the way, so that's why it's giving me, when I'm dropping color in, it's bursting, it's exploding, expanding, but that's fine, I don't mind. Something like that. I'll pick out some shapes. I'm gonna blur some shapes with my clean brush. Gonna pull out some shapes with my clean brush like that. Good thing about watercolor is it, you know, if you're not too worried about the outcome and you're confident, you know, your outcome will turn out well, you can kind of just you know, just go. Whereas if you're doing oil or acrylic, you can't really do that, right? Just trusting the water, trusting your paints and your material. Big sigh. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? That's well.
And I'm gonna add some purple because there is some purple.
So what color are you using?
So gray and blue. And now I'm just adding some purple because we did originally add some purple, right? Onto this corner here. And I think that's fun. That looks great. We'll just do that. And like I said, if you guys, if your paint, I washed my brush before I did that. So if your oranges ran down, you can fix it with a darker color here, right? So I'm just gonna use gray and blue as an example. So if you lost that bottom and all your colors ran down, you can just go ahead. My color's not strong enough. Go ahead and cover those up with just some deep color, right? Increasing the contrast of you know, cover your mistakes up with some dark color. There. And then I need to pull out some edges and go in with some dark color and pull out that edge, right? It's not all is lost. You can totally recover some edges. It's just you have to increase your the value of your shadow layer, and that will help. Okay, and I'm not, you know, if I go in and pull out this bud here, it's gonna explode on me. So I'm not gonna. You see what happened here with these, right? So I'm gonna let it dry a little bit more before I go back in, but I can definitely do the buds here. Something like that. And drop in some pure red right from my palette without diluting it. Just throw it on top and let that bleed down. And let it do its own thing. If you do need to, you know, move it around, you can with your brush. And that's how I would do my the buds here. Just do it that way. This one's quite blurry, so I'm just gonna go ahead and blur this a bit. Right, and then grab some red. It's that red tip there. There we go, red, pure red there. And I'm just gonna drop it on top, and it'll get sucked down to the rest of that layer. Okay, and then those just extra buds there. There's one here too, just extra color. Yeah, it's actually a little bit. The value here should be darker, so I am going to add a little bit more there. I'm just going to pull that down with my clean brush. So 2 brushes, right? One for moving paint, or sorry, one for dropping the paint in, and one for moving the paint. That. And then these buds, I'm just gonna move the paint to create a feathering effect, a blurred effect for these buds, because they are way in the background. They're not in focus, so I am gonna blur them a bit. Okay. Is that good? Pretty good.
2 hours.
Bring out the flowers. So with some Pyro Red, and my Pyro Red is not super, it is a wash, okay? And using my reference photo, see that? Yeah, so I'm just dropping in color or paint to where those that darker area is. I think my paint is too strong. Gonna lighten it up a bit there. And I can still see my pencil lines, so I'm going to follow that. You can't see your pencil lines anymore? Well,
An artist, you have to make it up.
yeah, well, you do have a reference photo.
You have a trick for that, right?
No. Using your reference photo is your backup. Reference photo is your backup. I have a fix for everything, almost everything, but once you lose your pencil drawings, you can wait for everything to dry and then find them again, but that's about it. Yeah, not a lot you can do once you lose that stuff. This is dark. This is dark as well. Like that. And then we're going to go into the next flower, which is here. Can't paint with my glasses on. do need it a little bit lighter here just so we can have a separation of flower shapes here. I'm still painting with the same size brush that I started with. Really helps, especially if you do need to paint fast. This is probably a number 12 round. You don't want a ton of paint, and I don't want all that value, so I did wash it off, or wash it to dilute it. Spring Lake. Wow. A little bit of a like a village. How'd they get 300 out there? Really? I thought it's a village. Yeah. That's interesting. So if you guys want to do some texture on your leaves or on your flower petals, see I'm holding the brush, just doing a dry brush, create some texture. And for here as well. It works great if you're good at it. If you're not that good at it, it's not gonna work so good. Right? Isn't that how the world works? Yes, that's right. There we go. So something like that, right? these are the shadows from the other petals. Or stems, sorry, the stems. Just softly. That's okay. That puddle will. I wouldn't leave any puddles. Up here? No. There's some blue behind here. Because it ran in. Remember that color where it ran into my flower, and that's why it's darker up here. But so that is that there. So we are, bringing the flower out. We're defining our shapes. Okay, and then the last, same layer. I am gonna put in some stems now. So it's still wet. I'm gonna use my gray, so directly into my tray without washing out your color. I'm gonna do this one first. Black, or sorry, Payne's gray. See how it spreads out? That's what we want. Stems, right? Stems. anyways, that's that layer. So the red shadows and then the stems. Got it?